Hey guys, welcome back to the Hear Me Roar pod. I am Tobi and my co-host is none other than the Kate Save, which you might know her from Shark Tank. She's also founder of BeFit Foods and picked up Telstra's Business of the Year award too. Kate?
Well, Tobi, you've got a super impressive CV, 25 years in global commercialisation experience, and you founded Creative Cubes, Australia's leading co-working space and real estate business.
All right, let's get on with the pod. Kate, I'm really excited about this one.
Me too. Now, I heard something about you. I don't know if it's true or not. Did you study podiatry?
I did study podiatry.
Really?
Yeah.
How old were you?
So it was university.
Right.
And it's not something that I'm proud of, but it's not something that I'm not proud of. So allow me to elaborate.
Okay.
I grew up in Bondi.
Yes.
Went to a pretty cool school. All my friends were lawyers, doctors, surgeons, dentists, and, you know, like had prestige titles. Doctor so-and-so, lawyer such and such. And so I didn't want to bring shame to my family.
Yeah.
So I love shoes. And when your friends are lawyers and doctors and surgeons and this and that, like loving shoes is not really a career path. I stand to be corrected on that. But we're in the late 90s.
Yeah.
And I felt like I needed to keep up. So I studied podiatry because I was going to be a doctor.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to study skin and disease. I really wanted to eventually build my own fashionable but functional shoe brand. Because I worked at Foot Locker as a kid.
Yes.
I worked at Athlete's Foot while I was studying podiatry. And I worked in podiatry clinics with orthotics and sports specialists, and worked with like NRL teams and NRL players back in Sydney that would come for their special sports medicine, blah, blah, blah. And like never really cared about any, I just want to make shoes. So after 3 years of skin, disease, fungus, you know, old ladies sitting there coming in to get her nails cut with some like
diabetes.
Like it just was like, you know me well enough that like I'm a hygiene freak and like it just wasn't for me. So I quit.
The sanitizer at the door.
Yeah, like I quit. And I told my mom, I said, listen, this isn't for me. I finally mustered up the courage to say to my mom, I can't do this anymore. I can't pretend to be someone that I'm not. I'm like not doing well at uni, and it's because I'm just not interested. I said, but I'll go and do something, and I promise you I'll make you proud. I don't know if making dog toilets for a living was proud.
I didn't say it, but I was thinking it.
But I think that like the success of what Petloo was on a global scale.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mum. But my mum's knee-jerk reaction, which really unleashed the roar in me, was, son, I've done what I've wanted to do in my life. You must live the life that you want to live for you, not for me.
So good.
And I was like, whoa, like, so I don't have to. She's like, not for me. You do you. And that just unlocked me. And then I got further unlocked when I met Sim, and she just didn't give a shit about anything other than she just loved me for who I was.
Yeah.
And so then I sort of started to become proud of who I am. And podiatry was a very distant memory. Shoes are not.
So our next guest, he makes shoes, incredible shoes. And I heard that he designed the first shoe before he even spoke to a manufacturer.
Incredible. So Vince founded a company and runs a company called Rollie.
Yeah.
Rollie Nation.
Rollie Nation.
If you're on the pod right now, look at the link in the show notes. I've linked everything there. But he's coming up on the show.
Absolutely.
But before we have Vince on, we've got a special word from Purpose Productions. Guys, you've seen me put out content for years. It all started with James Shadrack from Purpose Productions. We've filmed over 800 vlogs, several hundred different pieces of content that has helped me take my business to the next level. We use Purpose Productions for all the content, pods, vlogs, and storytelling that we produce. Check out purposeproductions.co to learn how James and his amazing team can help you scale your business and get your message out there. Vince, welcome to Hear Me Roar.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
There's so much I want to talk to you about, particularly because you're wearing the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix Rollie Nation shoes.
So
I saw
100%.
Romy wearing a pair of those
Absolutely.
when he came out. Romy's the owner of the team. They're so dope, man.
Yeah, I'll
Really
put these
cool.
on just for you.
Oh, I
today.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, I was putting some on just for you, and they're in my husband's bag stuck in Queensland because he didn't make the plane yesterday.
Oh, true to the travel story.
I know. The neutrals for me, but I love the bold colour. However, my daughter yesterday shopping in Broadbeach decided to buy bright blue shoes. And I was like, why blue? Like, I'm black and white, neutral. She's like, no, I want these super bright blue ones. And I was like, go you. And they look awesome. So now I'm intrigued to relook at the range, not just the whites and the beiges or the blacks, but to look at some colour.
I think it's shoes that make the outfit. What do you think, Vince?
I start from the shoes and then work my way up.
Yeah?
Yeah.
good.
And even with women, my wife, I've been married now for like 15 years, but she's totally cool with me because I look at the feet first and then I work my way up, and I'm not checking them out. I'm just like
sure.
checking out the whole fit.
Oh, there's a meme going around. It's like, I make shoe contact before eye contact.
Yeah, 100%.
No
That's
way.
me
Oh,
every
for
day of the
sure.
week.
Oh, Kate the skater, come on.
Yeah.
Get on board.
I do love shoes. Like you, I
Yeah.
have hundreds of pairs. So got to up my sneaker game though.
So Vince, how did it all start? Were you a podiatrist dropout like I was, like wanting to make fashionable shoes, or did
No.
you come from a different lens?
Quite the opposite. I've got the opposite of a foot fetish. I make shoes to cover up feet.
Okay.
So I started 20 years ago in the shoe business. I was a multimedia designer first, so graphic design, web design. And I went straight to a post-grad, straight out of high school, which is very rare. But it was tough because I had this incredible accreditation, but I didn't have a job. And so design studios wouldn't hire me because I wanted more money because I had the skills too, but I was still very young. So I got a job at a shoe company doing their catalogs. And then within 6 months, I migrated straight into product. I told him, look, I'm going to go and leave to work at a design studio, or I'm quite interested in the product. I grew up playing basketball, so shoes and sneakers was like part of identity. You know, I had my first pair of Jordans when I was 13. My dad bought them from the States, and it was just, me and my brother had matching pairs. Oh. It was everything. So I always had a love for it, but I didn't think it was a possible career path until I got that job. My boss at the time said, yeah, I think you'd be great at it. I designed my first collection in Photoshop. They looked so real that we sold 3,000 pairs just from photos. Cool. And that was it. I spent the next 5 years traveling around the world doing fashion shows with him, factory visits, selling shoes. And then I consulted for a couple more years for a New York-based company and a China-based company. I spent a month on in China, a month off, and did that for 2 years, and then decided it was time to start my own brand.
Bang.
So cool. Now, the name Rollie.
Yes.
That I read about this.
Yeah.
So your wife at the time when you guys were traveling, she was an air hostess.
Correct.
And her nickname was Rollie. And I was like, the nickname is so cool, like dragging a suitcase along. That's what I was thinking with Rollie. I don't know, moving around. Rollie?
Yeah, no, it didn't really connect back for that, but she was a flight attendant, and yeah, it was definitely her nickname. So I don't really call her that now because it's weird, but
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was named after her.
I can't say that I named Petlu after my wife.
You'd hope you didn't.
No, that's amazing. So there's a lot of like heart and soul in there, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'd worked on the product and the concept for 6 months before I even designed a shoe. So for me, it was about an energy. That's why it's called Rollie Nation, because there's a nation behind. I want to create a community of people that just love to travel, love to sort of be exposed to different cultures, and to just, for it to be very community-based. It's not called Vince Lebon, And I think if it was named after me, the product, it would look different to what it does today.
Sure.
This is bigger than who I am.
Yeah, wow. I'm so fascinated. How is the business structured in terms of, are you selling direct or do you sell through distribution?
Yeah.
I know the answers, but like guests that are listening to this for the first time, I'm sure they're fascinated by a guy making a shoe brand that then sells them where and how.
Yeah. I mean, it looks different today to when I first started.
Sure.
I first started off traditionally as a wholesale-based business. My first account was the world's largest shoe store in Dubai. And so within 3 years, we were in, I think it was about 7 to 9 markets around the world through distribution models. and we were selling to wholesale. I had opened up through a pop-up space 12, 13 years ago, which was very innovative at the time. Like no one, if you said I'm launching a pop-up, and people didn't know what that meant.
Totally.
And so we did that at the South Melbourne market, and we sold about 500 pairs in less than 5 weeks. And then being a web designer, I designed my website by myself. I hand-coded every single page. It wasn't like Shopify now. And so I designed the content management system in WordPress, and then I did the e-commerce section in BigCommerce, and I literally hand-coded both of them so they looked seamless.
Yes.
And that was cool. Over time, now we've gone, and now we're predominantly a D2C based business. We still have wholesale, but the much bigger part of our business is online, and we've got 2 retail stores now.
Yeah, I was about to say you got
Yeah,
concept
been
stores.
into one of those. Very
Cool.
Yeah, love
What do you
that.
think?
Oh, it's the whole experience. I think for me, like I go to Style Runner and I see all of the colors and everything, and I had that same. It's really cool and lots of colors, and I loved it.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
awesome.
Yeah, I'm really proud of that space. I think it when you go in there, you get a sense for what I'm trying to create. Half the store is a digital gallery. We've got 150 pieces of art from 50 artists from around the world on display throughout the month.
How do you select the artists? How do you?
So we work with digital artists. So we'll go out and we'll reach out to them and say, would you like to be showcased? Sometimes we've collaborated with them on their work. We do our own 3D art also. So look, it's really it's a commitment to us being an experience brand. That's what it's really for me.
Which horse do you like to straddle, the shoe or the art? Because it feels to me like this whole thing for you is art.
Yeah, I think it's a creative expression. The shoe just tends to be an output of the thinking.
Yeah, or the vehicle.
Yeah, it's the vehicle. I certainly love shoes. Like I'm highly technical. I can talk your ear off about what is involved in making a shoe.
Yeah.
So I definitely love that side, but it's really driven by brand and experience for me. I think we're an experience brand. We just happen to make shoes.
Fantastic. You know, like I got so many pairs of shoes, and I'll not collect because I'm not really into I'm not sort of lining up to get the latest shoe.
Yeah.
I just like shoes.
Yeah.
And if I like it, I'll buy it and wear it. More often than not, I'm wearing the same pair of shoes every single day, despite the fact that there's a whole range of Foot Locker warehouse in my.
Which is what? What shoe is that?
Of choice today, it's New Balance.
Nice.
I just spent 2 weeks in the US, and I spent 5 days of that at the New Balance HQ for a completely different thing, but it just happened to be hosted at the New Balance HQ.
Right.
And yeah, my kids are into it.
Yeah.
So they kind of like led me into New Balance. I had New Balance as a kid, Jordans and Air Maxes and all that stuff. Like I loved it, but like I listened to the story about Nike today.
Yeah.
And I'm not as inspired as what I was before. Everything before, probably before COVID, was if it doesn't have a swoosh on it, I'm not interested.
Wouldn't touch it.
Yeah. During COVID, like I read a lot about Nike and how they sort of went D2C and they sort of like started to abort some of the retailers, and the retailers then replaced those shoes or those spaces on their shelves with, you know, New Balances and other brands that then just kind of like came up, right? What I love about New Balance is it's a family, it's a generational business. They're like I've said this before on the pod, like they're worn by a supermodel in London and a 60-year-old man in Ohio, right?
In Ohio.
Yeah, like that's their claim to fame. They're worn by everyone.
Yeah.
But what I love is the attention to detail. These are actually made in the UK's.
Yep.
Crazy expensive. Like they were $300 when I bought them 2 weeks ago. But I can feel the difference between that and sort of like their $120 product.
Yeah.
But I love shoes, and my kids are like really like. Unfortunately, they've got the buggers. Unfortunately for me, because I've got to pick up the bill. But I love that they love the shoes.
Yeah. My kids are the same.
So design-wise, so you've done some collabs with Foot Locker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who else?
Asics. I worked with the Jordan brand.
Oh wow.
Worked at Adidas in the Brooklyn farm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've done quite a bit with some of the
and
big
you've
brands.
won an award.
Yeah. I've won 2 scholarships.
Yeah. Tell us about that experience.
So I had launched my brand, Rollie, and it was going really well. Like I said, we're in quite a few countries, but I just felt like I was spending all my time running the business, and I just needed a design sabbatical. I needed to get back to the creativity, and in my mind, it was just going to be a couple of weeks. I applied for Pencil, which is like the world's best sneaker academy. It's run by the creative director of the Jordan brand, so he was there for 12 years. I applied. I actually didn't get in the first time I applied, and I was like, "What the hell? Like, I've got my own brand. I know how to design shoes." No, it wasn't. It was just. It was a bit of a wake up call, right? That I reached out to him and said, "Hey, I would love to get some feedback on how I can improve because I'd love to do this." And Dwayne, who's the founder, was like, "We get heaps of people applying. Just keep applying. It's nothing personal. Just keep at it." And that was really great to hear because. I just wanted to know what I needed to do to get in. How can I improve? But what that taught me was, this is what I want. Just keep doing it and do it for me. I don't need it for external validation. If they accept me, great. But if not, I'm working on my craft. So I did the second one. I submitted it. And before I even heard a reply, I was working on the third submission. I got in on the second one. And it was with ASICS and Foot Locker. That turns into a competition, which, to be honest, I didn't know at the time. I ended up winning the comp.
So good.
And we were one man down. It's meant to be teams of three. One person had to leave, and we still won, which is great. Then my shoe got launched with ASICS in Foot Locker. I believe it sold out in an hour.
Wow.
And then I flew back, and they invited me they said they were doing a TV show, and they wanted me to apply. So I applied for the TV show. I got 2 kids at this point. I'm not looking to be on a show.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought, great opportunity. The prize was $100,000 US. So I'm like, cool, let me apply. It sounds like, if it pays off, it'll be great.
Yeah.
Applied, ended up getting in. Did 8 weeks nonstop designing for celebrities and athletes. We'd be given an athlete or a celebrity. They'd tell us what they'd like. We'd ask questions, then we would concept the next day, then we'd physically make the shoe, and then we'd present it the next day, the fourth day, and they'd pick a winner, and then they'd delete everything off your laptop, and you'd start again. And we just did that non-stop for 8 weeks. It was intense. It was had hidden cameras everywhere. We were in a dorm sleeping together. Like,
what's the show called?
I'm like 35 years old at this point. I'm like, I don't need to be doing this shit.
Intense.
But it was an incredible experience, especially now that I'm out of it. It made me realize that I could design 52 shoes a year and have 3 days off and do that level of work.
Wow.
Right? Because I was doing it back to back.
Yeah, right.
So it just changed my perspective of the amount of work that I could do. And we went from not even knowing the celebrity to a final finished sample in 4 days.
And who was your favourite one to design for?
Oh.
Okay, male and a female. I need a...
It's tough. I mean, James Harden was a big highlight. He was the MVP of that year. We ended up winning that shoe, and it got produced. He wore it. I met him in Vegas. So it's pretty hard to beat that one.
I actually have a photo of James and I last week in Los Angeles.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a cool dude.
Yeah, so. I don't know him.
Yeah.
But fearless athlete.
Yeah, I mean, he locks in. He's got that Kobe mentality where he just locks in because we were hanging out in his penthouse in Vegas, and he comes in, he's super nice, and then the cameras come on and he's just like a completely different person.
Really?
It's really, really interesting. So yeah, that was probably my favorite. But my favorite shoe was not his shoe. My favorite shoe was probably a Fetty Wap shoe that we did. He's a rapper. Yeah. We made a motorcycle boot that was inspired by streetwear, and that was dope.
Very cool.
Yeah. Well, maybe if I get big enough and this show gets large enough, you'll make Kate and I. Kate wants some skateboarding shoes.
Yes, please.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Can you skate?
I did as a kid, and I loved it. I was so proud of my skateboard.
Yeah, you should be.
The Nurse Candy.
I love this. I love this for you.
It was the only feminine.
I'm not taking the piss. I really love the fact that you did
loved
that.
It. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
My daughter, like I said, my daughter Maddie, she'll skate around the house.
I watched them at Moomba skating, all the girls. They were spectacular at their
She's
demo
got penny
thing
boards,
there.
she's got long boards. We had electric board at one stage.
So
The
good.
motor died on it, and then the company went bust, so you can't replace it. So I threw it out. It's $1,500.
I used to be really good at it, and then I got this scar from the skateboard, and my
Oh,
dad was like, "No, you're done. You're not
done."
touching it again."
Ooh.
But I learned to ski just this year, which
I
don't
think I
it's
saw that actually. I follow you now on Instagram, but
Yeah,
that was like a couple months ago, no?
a couple months ago. Yeah, I literally had
Go with
never
your
skied
brother?
in my life. No, it was a really good friend of mine. He's an Olympic skier, and he was missing the snow, and he's like, "I'm going to teach you how to ski."
Japan?
It was in Japan,
Yeah.
Had the best season in like 10 years.
Yeah,
and
yeah. I saw that powder.
yeah, it was cool.
So the guest that we had before you, he
Yes.
literally followed Winters for 7 years, and he's one of the 1,000 ski boot designers in the world. Is that what he said? There's only 1,000 of them.
Was there
in
1,000?
the
I didn't
world.
think it was that much.
Yeah, no, he said there was 1,000 in the world,
Okay.
and he was one of the
Wow.
1,000 ski boot
Yeah.
designers for the world. So he
There
traveled
you
the
go.
world designing ski boots.
And now he's doing now.
Cybersecurity.
You might want to check in with him, man,
Yeah.
because you could do a whole ski boot range. And
Could you imagine a cool
Amazing.
streetwear?
Oh,
Inspired?
well, now that you've done
and now
skiing,
that you love it, so
Yeah,
great.
now
that you've
done skiing,
Love it.
yeah.
I'll hook you
Yeah.
up. He's
Yeah, cool.
a lovely, lovely person. His family are phenomenal. Just biggest heart, nicest
Yeah.
people.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah,
so
I got
what's
the bug. I got
what's
the bug.
what's next for Vince and what's next for Rollie?
Oh man, it's such a loaded question. I got so much I still want to achieve.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. I've started my own vlog, and that's really about sharing the process.
Yeah,
I'm on the goal to have 100 people wearing Rollie in Australia and New Zealand, and so
hold on, 100.
one in 100.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Yeah,
surely you've done that
so no.
50,000 times over already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, 1 in 100, and then we take on the world. That's what I'm looking to do.
Okay.
So I think, we grew pretty big internationally, and COVID really took a hit on us globally. So now it's all right, let's make it really big here, and then we can look to go globally again. We'll still do some global stuff, but not at the scale that I want to lock down in Australia first.
Yeah, amazing.
So yeah, that's sharing the process has been really rewarding. I didn't think it would be.
People love it. Like when I put out videos just regularly, it gets a lot of views. When I put out videos around the construction of a new site that's coming to life,
Yeah.
it's like 100x the volume that I normally get.
Yeah.
People love the behind the scenes rawness,
Totally.
and like understanding how, slabs of concrete in my world
Yeah.
go to building communities. And I'm sure pieces of material to,
Yeah, well, I'm in the sneaker game, and so people love sneakers in general. So
sure.
just like hearing about how it's made, going to the factories, or even just the culture behind it. We just came back from ComplexCon in Hong Kong, which was unreal. Like, that's the epitome of culture, where you've got food, streetwear, sneakers, music.
so once I've made it, I want to just come back as your backpack and just roll, no pun intended, with you to all these different cons globally, and just like be a big kid in a candy store. The problem with me is I had to actually genuinely quit Foot Locker and Athlete's Foot because I never brought home a paycheck.
Yeah.
I'd get my paycheck. Back in the day, they would give it to you from cash from the till.
Yeah.
And I would get it and I'd be like, how much is in here? I'll like give it to them. And I'll take these things and I'll lay by those for next week's pay or 2 weeks times paycheck. I never bought home a pay ever.
Ouch.
Wow.
You just gave me a flashback. So I was the foot model for Nike, and my foot was on all the billboards across freaking Melbourne, everywhere.
Really?
And so I did a couple of different things for a Nike campaign, but I went there thinking that I was going to be like a person, not a foot. Thank God my feet were manicured. I'm like, of all the things,
Wow.
I'm foot modeling. And I remember how uncomfortable it was to just sit there on a stool, and then all the blood had drained down to your feet, and you have to put your feet up for a while, and then, such a crazy thing.
They make it look sexy.
They do,
But it's,
yeah.
Yeah.
Who's
It's
that? That's
actually
you,
painful.
no? You're doing this sort of stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, I like to capture the true essence around, I always say it's less about the shoes and what you do in the shoes that matter, right? So for us, we try our best to not just sit there and do, and certainly we have those on our website, but I'm not involved in them at all.
Sure.
Yeah.
My team's doing
Yeah.
it. Whereas for me, it's like, how do we capture the entire essence? More around storytelling for me.
Yeah, I get that.
But
They're an
yeah.
action shoe. They're made for action.
Yeah.
So it was such a weird campaign. Then the back of every Cleo Cosmopolitan magazine, I'm like, There's my foot.
Yeah,
Not
well,
my
there
head,
you
just
go.
my foot. Completely
Claim to fame.
Guys, I'm like
unidentifiable.
completely
You
out
should
of
add
my
that to your LinkedIn.
I forgot
You
about
really
Well, I'm
should.
completely out of my depth here because I'm like my hand is on the back of the Pet Loop packaging still to today. You're making sneakers and you're featuring in Nike ads. What's going on here, James? Unbelievable. Guys, we're going to wrap it there. I'm going to put all of Vince's details, Rollie Nation's details in the show description. We got to talk more. There's so much more I want to like do with you and for you and, you know, be about it. I'd love to get my first pair of Rollies. So I have to come check that out. Maybe I'll come to the city with my kids on the weekend and
Absolutely.
hang out.
Lace you up.
No, happy to just kind of support the mission and vision. I'm fully subscribed. Guys, after the break, Kate and I are going to catch up on the moment we had with Vince. But first, a quick word from Luna. Luna.co is a great place for you and your business to start off with phenomenal accounting and legal services. So if you're a startup or a scale-up looking for legal and finance support, or alternatively looking to raise capital, Luna.co is where you need to be starting off. Kate?
Oh, do you know the first thought that's going through my
Tell
mind
me.
is he loves skiing now. Ski boots with
Yes.
the ski boot
What a
design.
collab.
How cool would
How
they
do we
be?
get a piece of that? Do we have
Yeah.
to like venture fund it?
Raw.
Yeah. All right. Fascinating.
Yeah, so cool. What a journey. And
yeah.
Pencil, I was like, what is this place?
Yeah.
The Sneaker Academy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So cool.
And I've heard about all that stuff. But
Have you seen? I haven't.
Yeah, I
no
have,
idea.
but not from someone that's been there and done it.
Yeah, right.
That's fascinating to me. Amazing. I can tell from like just the conversation that Vince is really into the art. He's really into the storytelling. He's really into the experience. All that stuff is really precious to him.
Yeah.
And I assume that he wants that to be a really nice experience and touch point across every sense of it, across every touch point that Rollie Nation has for his customer. Whereas my lens on it is, yeah, they look cool. I'll just put them on, right?
Straight away, I'm thinking, you are the experience man. Like, look at this place.
Oh,
The
no, for
Creative
sure.
Cubes, same thing.
Yeah,
Different product,
I
same
can appreciate
thing.
that.
So, yeah.
Most definitely. But like the love that he has and the pride that he has and the pride that he has, like when he talked about, you know, that was a really proud moment for me, or that was like, that meant a lot to me. It's like, there's a lot of heart in every shoe that, you know, he's creating.
I cannot wait to see on the pod which shoes you pick up.
Well, yeah.
I cannot wait to see. You're going to be brave.
Don't
and get
don't limit me to one pair.
Oh,
Come
there we
on,
go.
Like, I've got to get like a whole. The problem is I might empty his warehouse out.
Yeah.
Of at least my
and
size.
with your children now.
Yeah, my kids are going to be all in as well. And once they learn about, like, potentially meet Vince on our visit, it just like they'll be all
cool.
in. But yeah, another amazing guest on our little humble raw podcast here.
Well, I'm inspired to break out of my neutral shoe and maybe go for something more adventurous.
There you go. It's game on, guys. We'll see you on the next one.